We are back with another episode on our 1940 Buick Century that we are getting up and running to take to the EMMR Hot Rod Annual in Abbottstown, Pennsylvania.
So we had a running and driving car, but it had an issue, right?
A small leak.
A small leak of exhaust.
Okay, a big leak of exhaust. Yeah.
So how far did you actually drive this thing?
I got maybe 3 miles in and very promptly had to roll the windows back down.
All right, and what's leaking exactly?
It's leaking directly from the exhaust manifold. Unfortunately, the Buicks, this is a known issue with these, and there was multiple cracks all throughout it. Most of them were invisible. I didn't even really see them. I tried to repair the head pipe gasket, and when I did, the ear completely broke off.
So the only solution to that was we needed a new exhaust manifold, heat riser, and intake manifold. Which the Seabolts put together for us on an expedited basis and have put in this nice crate.
Looks like we had a couple of exhaust leaks on the manifold anyways. We definitely put some silicone around the intake side of things.
Matt said that's a frequent attempt at a quick fix. It doesn't really fix much.
Stopgap when you don't machine the manifolds together. Yeah, it's just try to make it work. These are there's a reason they don't use this setup anymore.
I thought it was because they couldn't stuff a straight 8 in the front wheel drive chassis. So now we've got our anti-seize on, and you're adding what, fire rings?
Yep, I don't know if that's technically what they're called, but I've always called them fire rings. They basically go right in for the intake, and they help hold the gaskets and align the intake up. Oh, these little buggers are tight. And you can see they're tapered on one side, so you always put the taper out onto the manifold, and that helps line everything up, and it just keeps it centered. Otherwise, you could very easily shift the intake manifold off of the port, and that would reduce efficiency.
That happened to me once, and then with the 52 crawling over the fender, because the fenders are different, obviously. Holding the entire thing with the carburetor on it, that was fun. Taking it off, putting it back on, back and forth a couple times.
You know, we would have come help you.
Exactly.
So we're really close. We have finished a few more things, and the exhaust gave you some fits. What exactly did you all do here?
Well, the big head pipe and flange wasn't exactly lining up, so I had to use the rosebud, try and heat up and relax the pipe so I could get it bolted up, because I was really afraid of breaking the ear again. Don't need that, but I think I got that tight. We're gonna fire it up now. Heat cycle it at least once, tighten up the manifold nuts again, and then we should be good to hit the road tomorrow morning.
I was hoping to get the valves adjusted before this, but looser is better than tighter.
All right, gentlemen, are we ready for this?
We are ready.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get this bagged up and get on the road. Next big question, top up, top down?
Oh, I think we have to go top down.
I think
Top down.
we should start with the top down, and then when we get sun roasted, we can put it up and seek some shelter from the shade.
All right.
Push it on that bow. I love that sound.
That is a beautiful sound.
We're doing it.
Whee!
Wow.
Dogs. Now that I've figured out the proper clutch release technique, Junior's right. At the very top of its release, you've got about 20% of the clutch travel. See, I mean, climbing this hill like it's not even here. This car is like, yes, I yearn for the open road.
I am going to go, and you are going to like it.
Yep.
It's just nice and smooth.
Well,
it doesn't really wallow. It doesn't,
When you think of the era of the suspension technology, but you saw the anti-sway bars and stuff, like they were thinking when they put this thing together. Even a torque tube, as archaic as everybody says that is, I mean, it makes a lot of sense from an engineering standpoint. It's just heavy and harder to maintenance. Well, the steering on this is tighter than the steering on my Corvair. And I don't know if Junior adjusted it or not, but I mean, there's only maybe 2 inches of dead play here. So it's pretty easy to keep going.
Uh-oh.
Well, our problem is that we have lost the ability to shift into first and reverse, and while we could potentially drive the rest of the way on second and third, we would probably smoke the clutch in the process if we got into any real traffic. So we're trying to see if we can get the shifter to release, and if we can't get the shifter to release and go back to working properly, then we're going to have to trail it.
That's reverse?
Yeah, that's first.
That's first. All right, go for neutral. I'm gonna have to try an adjustment here. Just slop in the shifting mechanism. Well, this is why I was hoping to get a shakedown run before. This may not be the answer, but let's give it a shot. So that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. 5 sounds like a nice even number, right?
You mean a nice odd number of turns, right, Junior?
Yeah, you have to be very center, drop, then shift. You can't squeak it in. It's got to be very, very deliberate.
It's like race car days.
You guys raced the 40 Century? We made it. Took us till after midnight. It's the next morning, and it's raining. But we're here. We got a top, we got vacuum-operated windshield wipers, and we are ready to go have fun at a car show. So yesterday was a blast, but I don't know about you guys. I didn't quite get my race car fix.
No, didn't get my race car fix either. It was rained out, but the show went on.
Rained out is not quite the term, but the track was too wet for the cars to run, and thus for us to be the pace car. So instead, the folks who were hosting the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing said, why don't you guys come by the museum Sunday? We'll give you a tour. And none of us have seen it before, so we're pretty excited to be here and see what's inside.
We were only 15 miles away, so why not? Why don't we go in, take a look?
Let's do it.
See what's inside. Excellent.
Welcome to the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing.
We're so excited to be here.
Yes, we're excited to have you.
So much.
I'm Alison Kreitzer. I'm the executive director here at the museum. We've been at this location since we opened in 1989, and the museum is free and open to the public all year round. So we are able to keep the doors open on donations. And we have a great volunteer staff. I'm the only paid staff member, so we have a great group of people that come in every weekend and help to greet visitors like yourselves. So our organization started out as the Williams Grove Old Timers in 1975 and became the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing in the early 1980s. And they were looking for a property. They were meeting and having these conventions. And this property came for sale in the early 1980s. It's 60 acres, and we have a racetrack here, the Latimer Valley Fairgrounds, which was open in 1925 and raced until 1939. So we still do vintage racing here on this property about twice a year. Lynn Paxton, who's the founding curator here, he's really the reason why this collection is here. He's the proponent who collected a lot of the things that you're seeing here today, and this display design is all of his vision, how he wanted the museum established. He actually raced at Hershey Stadium and won Speed Week there in 1969. So we were able to take his car, and he let the Milton Hershey students sit in it and talk about his experience racing there in the 60s. He had a lot of news clippings and pictures. He always tells stories, and his story from Thursday was that when he'd race in the corners at Hershey, he'd get it up on 2 wheels, and that's how he passed everybody. And this time he actually had a photo to prove it. So I knew it wasn't a small scale, because I could document that one with a picture. EMMR.org is our website, and we have our schedule, and all of our events are posted there.
Very cool. So we saw a bunch of cool stuff. We saw their amazing library, which is going to be a really great resource for research in the future once they've got it all cataloged.
Absolutely.
And we learned that EMMR is depending on a lot of volunteers, which means that they need your support if you want to see this kind of thing go on. And we did our little bit because I got some stuff at the gift shop. I got this book because I'm a big John Gerber fan, and I got myself a decal. Put on my Corvair when I get home. What'd you get, Matt?
I got some outerwear, one of which is a gift, so
Oh.
I can't expose it.
You don't think you don't think you'll have given it to the person by the time we?
Probably, but
Okay. Well,
yeah.
so Matt bought some secret things at the gift shop, but we will definitely be back. There's some cars in there that will even make pretty good future Hemmings features.
Absolutely, definitely. This was a fantastic weekend, despite the rain we had at the beginning of the day yesterday. It was a wonderful trip down. It's proven itself well for a long road trip, well over 400 miles now, over the last 2 days. It was a wonderful time at the show. We met some fantastic people, and no better way to cap it than to depart Pennsylvania and this adventure right here at EMMR.
It seems like every time I encounter something like this, the shop manual says something like, take off the front fenders, the grill, and the hood.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the shop manual actually doesn't say anything about
It doesn't
servicing.
tell you, it just assumes you know how
Okay.
everything physically works, but it tells you all the specifications and specifics, but the actual how-to, you actually have to buy the later, I think it's 1943 manual, and that tells you step by step how to do this stuff. But the 1940 manual just gives you specifics and how it works, what it is, but
I will
not
bet I know why
how
that
to
is.
service it.
Because in 1940, all the techs had been through Buick Tech School, and by 1943, they were all in the Army, and you had non-educated people trying to do the same thing by the book.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I have a PDF of a 1942 service manual that is actually dedicated to the men that are keeping America's vehicle fleet intact for the duration.
I never even thought of that. That's smart.
Yeah.
That's probably exactly why.
So, if you get a 1940 Buick, make sure that you buy the 1943 service manual for it.
And it will tell you the specifics.